Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Aguilar from Columbia County Fire Rescue, and today we wanted to give you a personal tour of the new Engine 6 that's being housed at Engine Company 6. So Engine 6 is a E1 Typhoon. This engine was actually just put into service just last year in 2025. Brand new to this engine company. A lot of things have been upgraded, and this is going to allow us to be able to provide the best service to our first due as well as everyone else within Columbia County. So some of the first things you'll see on this brand new engine is we actually have our front jump line. What this front jump line is particularly used for is going to be for things like vehicle fires, dumpster fires. This line right here actually allows us for quick deployment on a vehicle fire. So typically the firefighter in the back seat will grab this, they'll move to the vehicle, and they'll be able to utilize this right here for quick extinguishment. This also allows us to place our apparatus in a position that actually also protects that firefighter, because normally we're going to be in the roadway. And so with this engine, obviously just like any other vehicle, we have our driver's seat. So this is predominantly where our driver is going to be, the engineer. So from this, driver's able to operate lights and sirens. He's also able to get a good 360 view of his apparatus, because we actually have, which is starting to become standard in fire engines, is 360 cameras. So he's got a camera on both sides of the engine as well as rear facing. So he'll be able to, on turn by turn, as well as backing the apparatus, be able to get a full 360 view. As well as from this seat, he's able to put our engine into pump gear, allowing for like that front jump line to be deployed and allowing the backseat firefighter to start fighting fire. And you'll see a couple other things, especially with this engine, is we actually have our engineer's compartment right here. He's going to be able to place all of his equipment, as well as right here we have a little space for him to be able to put his SCBA pack, but we actually have it set up for quick deployment if all three people are going to be going into a house fire or any other emergency situation requiring him to be on SCBA. And here is actually where we have kind of the engineer's office, is what I like to call it. So this is where they come in. They have nice shiny everything going on right here, all the gauges, all the levers. This is where they're actually going to gauge and set our pressures, see how much water they have coming in, how much water they're putting out, and be able to allow it to be everything to be set up properly for the officer as well as the firefighter to be able to extinguish any fire quickly and efficiently. One thing that you'll actually see that is unique with Engine 6 is we actually have 3 trays right here. So we have them in order, and we actually have a 200 foot with a specific nozzle on it, another 200 foot with a fog nozzle on it, as well as what's new with us in Columbia County is we're starting to put 300 feet on our engines. So we do have a 300 foot pre-connected hose line. So right when you pull any one of these off, they're already connected. All it takes is the engineer to pull a lever, set the pressure, and we'll have water at the end of the hose line ready to go. We've identified a need for the 300 foot hose lines, especially with a lot of new homes. We're starting to build larger homes, as well as at times we might have difficulty getting close to the home. So we're able to park at a further distance, but able to get inside the home with those extra 100 feet that we have on that 300 foot hose line. As well as you'll see, this is something new that we also have. You won't see it on every single apparatus. This is a little tray that we use for our 3-inch, and this just allows for the engineer to hook up to another engine and also get water from their tank. So these engines carry 1,000 gallons of water, and they'll be able to what we call marry up to another engine. And now we'll have essentially 2,000 gallons of water on scene immediately before hooking up into this intake right here, which is going to be connected to our 5-inch off the hydrant. So this allows us to have that little bit of extra water a little bit faster, and gives the engineer a little bit extra time to identify where their hydrant's at, be able to get all those resources in play, and be able to connect to the hydrant, thus creating a secure water source. And this right here is the main engineer's compartment. Right here gives you extra hoses and all the tools that an engineer would actually need to be able to set up new hose lines, to be able to build everything. If we need a specific nozzle, he'll be able to grab it from here. We have things like adapters, They even have a couple of little cheat sheets in there to double check some work if they need to on big scenes where we're flowing a whole lot of water. They can double check so they can be the most accurate at their job, allowing us to be the most efficient when we're on the end of that hose line. In this compartment, we have various hand tools. So standard flathead axe, sledgehammer. A lot of these tools are gonna be used for forcible entry to be able to make access into a building. Sometimes larger commercial structures. We'll have a new set of bolt cutters here. And then we have what you guys will normally see, another flathead axe. And your traditional, what you see a lot of the times, is your axe with a little spike at the end, which you see a lot of the times the fire service is gonna be using. As well as we have a new piece of equipment here that this is actually multifaceted here. So before we were having to carry multiple pieces of equipment to be able to do the same tool, same job. And so what this does is it actually is a cellar nozzle, a piercing nozzle, as well as we can possibly even use it for electric vehicles if needed. But this is a multiple in one, allowing us to be able to have more space and be a little bit more efficient and be able to build it as we see fit. And as you can see, it's very, very compact. This is actually a new piece of equipment that the Columbia County Fire Rescue has actually been utilizing. And this is where we actually see a lot of our updates, a lot of newer equipment right here for Engine Company 6 specifically. So we actually have a newer chainsaw. This chainsaw is bigger than the last one that we had, especially after the storm where we see the need for it and the necessity for it to make access on roadways, but also for things such as vertical ventilation, cutting into a roof during a structure fire. A more powerful saw allows us to do that a lot faster. You'll also see that we have a slew of a couple different things, everything from oil dry and some cribbing for a vehicle accident to be able to mitigate any type of spill, anything like that, as well as for a little bit of stabilization before one of our rescue trucks or specialized units gets on scene. As well as we have a slew now of power tools. One of the biggest updates for that is actually they are battery powered. Previously, we're having to plug them in, then running an extension cord, then plugging them into our generator. Being able to have these all battery powered allows us to be a lot more efficient, quick, be able to get the job done a lot faster, especially in more confined spaces. And then we have kind of what you'll see and what you might find in your household, your standard tools. Sometimes we have to take apart machinery. Sometimes this is quick fixes around the house where someone needs a little bit of assistance. And it allows us to be able to bring those tools inside, be able to fix anything that we need to, or be able to get access to things such as like an HVAC unit in a commercial or even a residential structure. As well as we have a little giant right here. A lot of the times we try to get inside of a house and we want to make access to maybe something as the attic. And so we might use a little ladder like this to help us make access to it and allow us to be able to go do our jobs. In the back of the engine, what you'll actually see up here up top, we have up here, we'll actually have our 5-inch, and we carry 1,000 feet of 5-inch. And essentially what a 5-inch does is it takes what you see underground and allows us to put it on top and put it exactly where we want to. So just like your water system underground, it's usually bigger pipes. It's the same idea, but you're limited obviously because those can't be maneuvered. This allows us to hook up to a hydrant and get large amounts of water to a house fire or a commercial fire. You'll also see that we have our 2.5. We use this for larger fires, either a heavily involved house fire or a commercial fire where we need large amounts of water. So we'll pull that, and that's already, as you see right here, pre-connected. So all the backseat firefighter has to do is put that on their shoulder, go where they need to go, and the engineer can then just charge it when given the signal, and then we can go to fighting fire. As well as we have our 3-inch. The 3-inch can also be used in multiple facets. It can be used for hooking up to a hydrant for additional water on top of having our 5-inch, as well as to extend our hose lines. So if we need to go a really, really long distance, say where that 300 feet can't reach, we can connect some other hose lines to that, and we use it as what's called a feeder line. in here we have our ladder well. So right now we have a 24-foot ladder, which is pretty standard across many fire departments across the US, as well as a roof ladder, 14 foot. And we have another attic ladder right here. It's actually really compact. That allows us to fold it up, save space. And we also have what we call some roof hooks and pike poles. That allows us to get inside, be able to pull some ceiling down, get into spots that are really, really tall, and be able to look for extension of fire so that we know that when we leave, all fire has actually been put out. What you'll have in here is probably, again, some of the most upgraded stuff that we have. So we actually have our portable scene lights, which these are actually Streamlight, some of the top on the market. This actually allows us to have portable lighting. We do have lighting around the engine that allows us to light up a scene, especially on something like a vehicle accident at night, or even a house fire at night. Anything where kind of visibility is limited. However, sometimes we have to go a little bit further of a distance away from our engine. So we can use something like these to be able to bring that lighting with us. And it allows us to be able to do our jobs a lot more efficiently. As well as we have a generator right here to power any tools, to charge any tools. Now that majority of our stuff is battery powered, we are using it a little bit less, but we actually do prefer that because that allows us to be able to move a lot more freely. But it's still a critical aspect to have on our engines for those times that we do have to plug things in. We like to always have backups as firemen. Another good tool that we're starting to see on a lot of our brand new engines is we're actually seeing battery powered fans. So we as firemen, we love battery powered fans. Previous ones were gas powered, but we started seeing in the fire service using gas powered fans was taking that gas and putting it inside the homes. So our administration identified the issue and they're addressing it pretty aggressively by initiating and putting all these battery powered fans on a lot of our engines now. And they actually kind of use just like the same batteries that you'll see on your power tools on top of those, and it actually will run for quite a long time. We use it usually for ventilation, so we'll place it at a front door and we'll be able to push all the smoke out or even unseen gases, especially on either a hazmat call, a gas leak, especially indoors. We can hopefully get all that ventilation moving and all the air moving throughout the house and push smoke or gases outside, thus creating a safer environment for people. Cones, just for safety purposes, especially on scene of a call, we like to create that safety barrier. We use the engine as that safety barrier, but as an extra buffer, we actually set out cones as an additional kind of heads up to people driving on the roadway. And just like anything else, we still carry these red fire extinguishers for certain calls, because depending on the components that are burning, these are actually going to be safer than using your standard water, your hose, or your standard water can. Right here, this is a high-rise pack. A high-rise pack, right? Well, and as well as the accessories that come with it. So we all across the Columbia County Fire Rescue on every single engine, we carry these due to the larger facilities that we have within our area. Things such as hotels or large commercial buildings. So this allows us to bring a hose line inside and connect to what we call an FDC or a standpipe. And we can connect to those and we're able to get water through that system and be able to fight fire inside of the building and kind of away from the engine. But we have these to be able to set up the entire hose line as well as the accessories needed to kind of be able to do what the engineer is doing on the engine, just at that standpipe, set pressures, set up multiple lines if needed, and be able to set everything up quickly and efficiently. And then what we have in here is we'll have extra SCBA bottles. So these are the bottles that we put on our SCBA packs, and we'll always carry several extra ones just in case, because typically on your standard house fire or commercial fire, you'll be going through several of these throughout everybody on the incident. So we'll carry extras so that it's a quick switch out before our specialty units that actually carry a system to be able to fill these arrive on scene. So it allows us to finish the job a little faster, as well as some extra oxygen for our medical calls. This compartment, as you can see, doesn't have a whole lot in it right now. We do actually have several rope bags in here. We actually do have some people currently training with them right now because we're always actively trying to get better at the job. So right now they're actively training with them, but a couple other things that we have in here is a couple of tarps as well as a cooler. And we actually use these to set up what is called a rehab. So during any commercial or residential fire, we'll have a rehab area set up for the firemen. So they'll be able to go over there, have some of those bottles that we just saw set aside, have a couple water bottles, as well as some Gatorade for electrolytes, to be able to have a moment to take a breather, catch their breath, get some fluids in them, especially on these really hot days that we experience here in Georgia, and be able to get ready to go back inside to be able to complete any other tasks that have gone unfinished. On this side, you'll see right here, we have a couple of discharges right here as well as an intake. So this right here, we'll do some things called what we call relay pumping. And so depending on the position of the hydrant, as well as where the house is at, we might actually connect a couple of those 5 inches together from one pump to the other one. And we'll ensure that the pressure that's coming off that hydrant, if it's not enough, we'll increase it and we'll send it off to that next engine so they have adequate incoming pressure to allow them to give the guys on the lines enough water to be able to fight the fire. And on this side, a little bit different than you see on the other side. On this side, we have what we call our irons, as well as we have another water can and a couple other hand tools. So this compartment is going to be heavily utilized by both the backseat firefighter as well as the officer. On my shift, I will take what's called the irons. These are actually used for forcible entry. And my backseat firefighter will take the water can. So that allows us to be able to make entry in the house. And if we see an immediate need to be able to put water on fire, whether it be a small fire or until the hose line's in play, we'll be able to use that water can and put actually quite a decent amount of fire out. Back here is going to be the spot where our firefighter sits. He actually has all of his gear set up right here, and he actually has some access to several things in this back. So this is actually a great setup. We actually been really enjoying this setup back here. Everything is nice and secure. There's multiple spots to put things. So right now we have things like our medical equipment that's going to be stored, and you have access from the inside as well as the outside. And as well as a couple of additional things such as our bulletproof vests for any type of active shooter incident. We also have some of our splinting stuff in there, and some of our what we call our first in books, our map books, essentially binders full of information for the officer to be able to create a game plan prior to arriving on scene of any emergency call. As well as they actually have their air packs stowed inside. So we carry our air packs in the back of that seat for quick deployment of that firefighter. So by the time we arrive to any type of structure fire, that firefighter will have all of their gear on that you see right here, pants, jacket, hood, and they'll be able to put their pack on quickly and efficiently. So by the time they step out of this engine, all they have to do is grab a tool, grab a hose line, and be able to go to that house and be able to start going to work and putting a fire out. On this other compartment right here, this actually mirrors the other side. So we carry several pieces of equipment in here. Most of it's going to be medical equipment. So this engine is actually what we call ALS capable. So that means that we have paramedics on this engine, which is the highest level of care being provided in the pre-hospital setting. So we have our ALS bag that has things such as intubation equipment. It has a whole slew of medications, as well as a couple of extra things that allow us to be able to provide the highest level of care within the field prior to arriving at the hospital. So we're pretty proud of that. We're actively always training on that equipment as updates are continuously coming out for best practices. And on the other side, in a similar fashion, we have what's called a Lucas, as well as our monitor, our Zoll monitor, that allows us to do things from as simple as taking a blood pressure and a simple heart rate, all the way to taking a full picture of the heart to see what's truly going on. This is a great tool to have for us because then we can identify if someone's having what we call a STEMI and do pre-activation alerts. So let the hospital know that someone's having a significant cardiac event or any other type of significant medical event, and that they can get the right people in the room prior to even the ambulance arriving to that hospital. And the last seat in the house is my seat currently. This is gonna be where the lieutenant sits. So you'll see we have a computer, my equipment, and a couple other extra things in here. Things such as a TIC, thermal imaging camera. And I have access to the radio and the computer system right here, which does several things such as mapping, letting us know exactly where to go to the call. We're able to have notes with dispatch. So as they gather information, as they're call taking that and talking to the person on the phone, they'll update us, and then I can update my crew so that we can create a game plan and know what to somewhat expect on a medical call. There's usually always a lot of unknowns, so having this system in place that our administration has put up in place, as well as been continuously updating, has actually been a critical tool. This allows us to get to calls the most efficiently. If it's a structure fire, we can identify where our hydrants are at. And we are also able to identify our target hazards and look at anything that we call a pre-plan. Something that we've identified before, and we may even have where specific apparatus have to place themselves, and entry points, and as well as even how many occupants might be within that structure. Because as many people have seen with Columbia County growing, a lot of the areas, they're getting bigger and bigger, and a lot of residents are growing in size. And it could be a multi-family residence, it can be something such as one of our nursing homes or our schools, and we want to be able to have the plan available to us very quickly so that when we arrive on scene, we already have an idea of how we want to approach it and mitigate any emergency scene. So Engine 6, it's been a great engine that we've had here in service for several months now. And we've been learning quite a lot with it. We've been training quite a lot with it. It's already served our community several times in various different ways, from medical calls all the way to structure fires. So I hope you've enjoyed this tour. And if you ever want to have an in-person tour, always feel free to come by to Engine Company 6 on William Few.